Hi there. So, one small change in how you ask your child questions in English can completely transform how much they speak. Today, I'm going to show you exactly what that change is. So, most parents ask questions that can be answered with one word. And that is where the conversation ends, is with that one word answer. Today, I'm giving you level by level questions and sentence starters that you can use tonight that get kids speaking in full sentences every single time. So, if you're helping a child grow their confidence in English, go ahead and subscribe to this channel. I share strategies that help kids move from understanding English to expressing their ideas clearly. And stay until the end because we have a phrase that works at every single level and changes every conversation. So, the difference between a question that gets a one word answer and a question that gets a full sentence is actually smaller than you think. Did you like it? That gets you a yes or no, right? What did you like about it and why? This gives you a sentence, an opinion, and a real answer, right? So, this small shift is the entire secret. And once you see it, you cannot unsee it. So, everything in this video is built on that one principle. So, if you're helping your child grow in English, let's go ahead and subscribe to this channel. So, I share strategies every week that help kids move from understanding English to expressing their ideas clearly. And my English Confidence Club helps children ages 8 to 12 build real speaking skills through structured, guided conversations, which are real conversations with a native English speaker in small groups. And the link is in the description to join the wait list. So I only have a few more spots for my wait list and then we'll run our class. All right, so questions alone are super powerful, but when they are paired with sentence starters, they give the child who is speaking English so much power, right? They feel strong and confident. So a sentence starter removes the scariest part of speaking, the blank moment where a child has no idea where to begin. So when you give your child the first few words, all they have to do is finish the thought. And finishing a thought is so much less scary than starting from nothing, right? It gives them something to say, it gives them structure. And the right sentence starter shows them how to say it. So together, they are the most practical speaking tool that I know. So, for example, if I said, would you rather go to the beach or to the mountains? I would give my students a sentence starter that said, I would rather go to blank because blank. That way they can tell me, hey, I'd rather go to the beach because I like to scuba dive. They can fill in those answers with that structure. All right, so when we're talking about open questions, so they give the kids a reason to think in English, not just to recall, but to actually process the question and respond with an opinion. So they require more than a yes or no answer, which means more English has to be produced and has to come out every single time, right? And they built the habit of speaking in full, complete sentences, and habits are where real fluency lives. So, by providing these sentence starters, I have seen children and adults thrive in their language abilities. So, open questions are the difference between a child who answers and a child who communicates. And every question in this video is an open question. So you can save this and you can come back to this too. So there's lots of examples for different levels. For example, the A2 level question. These are for children who are just getting comfortable with English and maybe they're just getting started. So you can keep it like warm, low pressure, right? So a lot of A2 level questions are, what is your favorite blank and why? So these are really simple. They always get a response, right? Um, or another one is, which do you like more, X or Y? And this gives two options, right? Which do you like more, the beach or the mountains? And this removes like that blank page problem we talked about earlier completely, right? Another great question is, how did that make you feel? So feelings are really powerful because every child has feelings, and feelings produce really strong, colorful, and vivid language. And these questions work super well because they're personal. Kids always have an opinion and always have something to say about their own preferences and experiences. Awesome. And here are some sentence starters that can be paired with those questions. I like blank because blank. And this is a super, super useful sentence starter because it forces a reason every single time. And another one is my favorite is blank because same structure, slightly more specific, and it builds that opinion language naturally. Another one is I feel blank when blank. This connects emotion to language in a way that sticks. When children are more interested in something, they're going to create and develop that language that is sticky, that meaning they're going to remember it, right? Another one for A2 level is I think blank is because blank. And this introduces comparison language at a very accessible level. So go ahead and model these yourself. Like, I think pizza is better than pasta because I love the cheese and the toppings on pizza. And then you could model that and then have your child go ahead and, say their own opinion. And when they hear a complete answer and like what it actually sounds like, then they know, hey, I can just model that and I can just create, use that sentence starter and create my own opinion. So it's an awesome, awesome way to practice your English with your child too. All right, for my parents who have B1 level kiddos. So the B1 kids have the vocabulary, right? They just need the right question to unlock it and encourage them to use it. So what would happen if, what would you do if that happened to you? This is a really personal hypothetical question that produces natural, like first person English, right? If this happened to me, I would do X, Y, and Z because X, Y, and Z. Do you think that was a good decision? And this is an opinion question at this level that really gets kids to use their reasoning skills and justify their answer, not just giving you a simple answer, right? Which one would you choose and why? This gives them choice plus a reason, which is a really strong B1 combination. And these questions push kids past the comfortable and into the interesting. So this is where that stretch, where fluency grows. Some sentence starters that can help are I would choose blank because blank. There's decision language, opinion language, and the natural English all in this one sentence starter. The next sentence starter is in my opinion blank because this one feels like super grown up and like an adult. So I have a lot of like teens, tweens that love to use it. Another is if that happened to me, I would do X, Y, and Z. This produces hypothetical language and it's very complex English that comes out naturally then. I agree or disagree because this is a game changer. If you have a B1 child, really provide this sentence starter for them because it teaches them that disagreeing respectfully is a skill, right? And they can have this skill. So it's a really important skill to practice. And these starters give B1 kids the scaffolding they need and the support to say something that they genuinely think, which is always, always, always better than something that's memorized. So B2 kids, these are a level up. They are ready for the real depth. These questions should challenge them and they will rise to the challenge. So do you agree or disagree and why? Full opinion with justification. So this is more real academic English in a natural context, right? What could have been done differently? So I want the kids to practice this one because it's a really sophisticated language skill. And if you could change one thing, what would it be? So creative problem solving. I love this because sometimes we don't give children enough opportunities to problem solve, right? So this produces really interesting solutions and interesting English as well. And remember, these questions don't have a right answer, and that's the point. So when kids stop looking for that right, correct answer, they stop worrying about being accurate or being correct, and they actually start to think and produce and be creative, which is exactly what we want. All right, so some of the sentence starters are I agree with blank because blank. So here we have agreement with reasoning. It's sophisticated, it's natural. Same with disagreement. So This is something that kids don't always have the opportunity to practice, but we really need it for conversations. So I would highly recommend practicing this with your child. On one hand, blank, but on the other hand, blank. This produces super complex English, and it teaches kids to hold two ideas and to be able to compare them and contrast them at the same time. I think the best solution would be blank because blank. This is really important. We're working towards a solution, right? This is a really important leadership skill as well, and it produces real world English. So remember, when we're practicing English, we're not just practicing the language, we are practicing confidence, leadership, tons of other skills at the same time. So when a B2 kid uses these sentence starters confidently, they sound genuinely fluent, right? And that feeling of sounding fluent and like a native English speaker is super motivating and really boosts students' confidence levels. All right, so this is the phrase I promised you at the beginning of our video, and it works every single time at every single level with every child. So you can say, tell me more about that. That's it. 4 words. Or I should say 5 words. Tell me more about that, right? So this works for any level, any topic, any answers. This shows genuine interest. It removes that pressure and invites English without asking a new question. They simply get to expand on their ideas. And it's a super powerful phrase in any conversation, and it works every time without exception. So if this has been helpful, go ahead and subscribe. And this is exactly what my channel is about every week. I love helping parents, increase their child's English level and confidence simultaneously. All right, parents. So go ahead and you can match the question to your child's level, right? So you have A2 questions for A2 kids, B1 for B1, and don't skip levels, right? And if you're not sure where your child is at, go ahead and send me a message, or you can comment below. And I have actually sign up links for assessment lessons. So we can meet together and I can help you figure out where your child is at and how I can better support them. And remember, give them a sentence starter before the answer. So say the first few words and then let them finish, okay? Remember, wait silently. Never rush the answer. Count to 5 in your head and give them the space to think. And these 3 things together, the right question, right starter, right silence, create the conditions where a child goes from one-word answer to full, confident sentences, which is super exciting. And save this video, screenshot the questions, put them on your fridge, use them every single day. It will make a world of difference in your child's English. All right, so thank you so much for watching. I hope you are leaving with a list of questions you can try today with your child. So the right question at the right level with the right sentence starter is a super powerful gift that you can give a child who's learning English. Go ahead and drop in the comments which questions are you going to try first. And I'd love to know how your child responds to these. So I read every single comment and would love to be helpful. So if you have any questions, drop them there too. And if this helped you and your family, please share it with at least one other parent who's helping their child learn English, right? So it genuinely helps this channel grow. It helps me reach more families who are learning English. And if you're not subscribed yet, hit that button. I'm here every single week with real strategies for parents who want real results for their kids. I'll see you in the next one.